Basilisk. The basilisk, often called the king of serpents, is one of the deadliest creatures in European folklore. First mentioned in ancient Greek and Roman texts, it is typically described as a serpent or lizard capable of killing with its gaze. According to legends, the basilisk's mere presence is so toxic that it leaves a path of destruction, killing plants and animals alike. Some stories suggest that even its breath is lethal. The creature is said to be born from a serpent's egg hatched by a cockerel, giving it a strange and unnatural origin. Medieval accounts often emphasized its vulnerability to mirrors, seeing its own reflection would kill it. Another way to defeat a basilisk, according to legend, was to expose it to the crowing of a rooster, which it could not bear. Centaurus. With the upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse, centaurs are iconic creatures from Greek mythology. They embody the conflict between civilization and barbarism, often portrayed as wild and unruly beings who succumb to their base instincts. However, not all centaurs were depicted as savage. Chiron, one of the most famous centaurs, was known for his wisdom and kindness. Unlike his violent counterparts, Chiron was a skilled healer, teacher, and mentor to heroes like Achilles, Hercules, and Jason. The myth of the centaur likely originated from early encounters between horse-riding nomads and settled agricultural societies, inspiring tales of half-human, half-horse creatures. In art, centaurs are often depicted in battle scenes, symbolizing the tension between reason and instinct. Their duality has made them enduring symbols of humanity's struggle to reconcile its intellectual and animalistic natures. Cerberus. Cerberus, the three-headed dog of Greek mythology, guards the gates of the underworld to ensure that the dead remain in and the living stay out. Each of its heads is thought to symbolize the past, present, and future, or birth, life, and death. Descriptions of Cerberus vary, but it is often depicted with a mane of snakes and a serpent for a tail, adding to its fearsome image. One of the most famous stories involving Cerberus is Hercules' 12th labor, in which the hero was tasked with capturing the beast and bringing it to the surface. With Hades' permission, Hercules subdued Cerberus without weapons, showcasing his strength and resolve. Cerberus also appears in tales involving Orpheus, who used his musical skills to charm the creature into allowing him to pass. As a guardian of the boundary between life and death, Cerberus represents the inevitability of mortality and the challenges of crossing into the unknown. Chimera. The chimera is a monstrous hybrid from Greek mythology, composed of the body of a lion, a goat's head rising from its back, and a serpent for a tail. It is said to breathe fire and wreak havoc wherever it goes. The chimera is most famously associated with the hero Bellerophon, who was tasked with slaying the beast. Riding the winged horse Pegasus, Bellerophon attacked the chimera from the air, ultimately killing it with a spear. Symbolically, the chimera represents chaos and the unnatural. Its hybrid nature, a fusion of multiple animals, has led to its name being used to describe anything composed of incongruous parts. In scientific contexts, chimera refers to organisms with genetically distinct cells, drawing on the myth's theme of unnatural combinations. Dragon. Dragons are among the most versatile and iconic mythical creatures, appearing in nearly every culture's folklore. In Western traditions, dragons are typically massive, fire-breathing reptiles associated with greed, destruction, and chaos. They often hoard treasure in caves or atop mountains, and slaying a dragon is a common motif in heroic tales, symbolizing bravery and the triumph of good over evil. Eastern dragons, by contrast, are benevolent creatures tied to water and agriculture. In Chinese mythology, dragons are seen as wise, powerful, and protective, often bringing rain and prosperity. They are frequently depicted with long serpentine bodies, whiskers, and antler-like horns. Fairy. Fairies are magical beings found in folklore across Europe, often depicted as small winged creatures with supernatural powers. In Irish and Scottish traditions, fairies are linked to the otherworld, a mystical realm parallel to our own. They are known for their capricious nature, sometimes aiding humans with gifts of magic or wisdom, but just as often causing mischief or harm. Fairies were believed to abduct humans, particularly children, and replace them with changelings. Offerings of milk or shiny objects were thought to appease these enigmatic beings. Despite their delicate appearance, Fairies were feared and respected. In literature and modern media, fairies have evolved into symbols of magic and wonder, often depicted as guardians of nature or as mischievous tricksters. Fenrir. Fenrir, the great wolf from Norse mythology, is a symbol of chaos and destruction. Born to the trickster god Loki and the giantess Angerboda, Fenrir is prophesied to play a major role in Ragnarok, the apocalyptic end of the world. According to legend, the gods feared Fenrir's immense power and tried to bind him with chains, but Fenrir broke free each time. Eventually, the gods crafted a magical ribbon called Gleipnir, made from impossible elements such as the sound of a cat's footsteps and the roots of a mountain. Tricked into being bound, Fenrir bit off the hand of the god Tyr as he resisted captivity. During Ragnarok, Fenrir is destined to break free and devour Odin, the chief of the gods, before being slain by Odin's son Vidar. Jinn. Jinn, also known as genies, are supernatural beings from Middle Eastern mythology. Created from smokeless fire, they possess free will and exist in a realm parallel to humans. Jinn can be benevolent, malevolent, or neutral, and their interactions with humans often involve granting wishes. However, these wishes are frequently delivered with a twist, reflecting the jinn's cunning nature. In Islamic tradition, jinn are mentioned in the Quran as beings capable of faith or disbelief. Much like humans, they are said to inhabit desolate places and can become invisible at will. Golem. The golem is a legendary figure from Jewish folklore, often depicted as a humanoid creature made from clay or mud and brought to life through mystical rituals. The most famous golem story originates in 16th century Prague, where Rabbi Judah Loew is said to have created a golem to protect the Jewish community from persecution. Inscribed with the Hebrew word emet, meaning truth, on its forehead, the golem would obey its creator's commands. However, if the first letter of emet was erased, leaving met, which translates to death, the golem would deactivate. Griffin. A majestic creature combining the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle, the griffin symbolizes strength and vigilance. In mythology, griffins were said to guard treasures and sacred places, often depicted as protectors of divine objects. Their dual nature, part terrestrial, part celestial, represents the balance between the earthly and the divine. Griffins were popular in ancient art, particularly in the Middle East and Greece, where they adorned temples and tombs as guardians. Harpy. Harpies, originating from Greek mythology, are part bird, part woman creatures, often described as agents of punishment or torment. Known for their shrill cries and swift wings, they were believed to snatch food and torment the guilty, carrying them to the Furies. Depicted as symbols of chaos and unrelenting pursuit, harpies were feared for their relentless nature. In modern interpretations, they often serve as metaphors for vengeance and justice, embodying the power of retribution. Hydra. The Hydra, a multi-headed serpent-like creature from Greek mythology, represents a nearly unbeatable foe. With each head that was cut off, 2 more would grow in its place, making it a formidable opponent. The Hydra lived in the swamps of Lerna and was famously defeated by Hercules during his 12 labors. Using fire to cauterize the stumps, Hercules prevented new heads from regenerating. The Hydra's origins are deeply rooted in Greek myth, where it was considered the offspring of Typhon and Echidna, 2 primordial monsters. Its venom was so potent that even the slightest contact could kill a person. In some versions of the myth, the Hydra's blood was used by Hercules to tip his arrows, making them lethal weapons. Kitsune. In Japanese folklore, the kitsune is a highly intelligent fox spirit, known for its ability to shapeshift into human form. Kitsune are associated with the deity Inari and often serve as its messengers, symbolizing prosperity and wisdom. However, kitsune can be both benevolent and mischievous. Kitsune are categorized into 2 main types: the zenko, or good foxes, and the yako, or wild foxes. Zenko are often associated with Inari shrines and are revered as guardians who bring good fortune and protect against evil spirits. They are portrayed as helpful and wise, guiding humans with their supernatural insight. In contrast, Yako kitsune are more mischievous and sometimes malevolent. These wild foxes are known for their pranks, which can range from playful deceptions to elaborate schemes that lead humans into danger. Kraken. The kraken is a legendary sea monster from Scandinavian folklore, often described as a massive squid or octopus capable of sinking ships. Sailors feared its immense tentacles, which were said to drag entire vessels into the ocean depths. The kraken embodies the mystery and danger of the sea, serving as a cautionary tale for those who dared venture too far into the unknown. The kraken's origins can be traced to the Icelandic sagas and Nordic lore, where it was first mentioned as a sea creature that inhabited the waters off Norway and Greenland. Early depictions of the kraken painted it as an almost supernatural force, a guardian of the deep that could create whirlpools by diving below the waves. These whirlpools were said to be powerful enough to swallow entire fleets. Manticore. The manticore, a creature of Persian mythology, is a fusion of a lion's body, a human's face, and a scorpion's tail. Known for its fearsome nature, the manticore was said to devour its victims whole, leaving no trace behind. Its name means man-eater, reflecting its role as a predator. Medusa. Medusa, one of the three Gorgons in Greek mythology, was cursed by Athena, transforming her into a monster with snakes for hair. Anyone who looked into her eyes was turned to stone. Medusa's transformation into a Gorgon was the result of a grave injustice. According to one version of the myth, Medusa was a beautiful priestess serving in Athena's temple. When she was assaulted by Poseidon within the sacred space, Athena punished Medusa rather than her aggressor, turning her into a monstrous figure as retribution for desecrating the temple. She was eventually slain by Perseus, who used her severed head as a weapon. Maiden. The maiden archetype appears across myths and folklore, often symbolizing purity, innocence, and potential. In many cultures, the maiden archetype represents the beginning of life's journey, embodying youth, vitality, and untapped strength. In Greek mythology, the maiden archetype is embodied in figures like Persephone, who was abducted by Hades and taken to the underworld. Similarly, in Norse mythology, maidens often appear as Valkyries, powerful yet graceful figures who choose which warriors will live or die in battle. Minotaur. The Minotaur is a half-man, half-bull creature originating from ancient Greece. According to Greek mythology, King Minos of Crete offended the god Poseidon by failing to sacrifice a sacred bull as promised. In retaliation, Poseidon cursed Pasiphae, Minos' wife, to fall in love with the bull. From this unnatural union, the Minotaur was born, a creature that was neither fully human nor fully beast. The Minotaur's monstrous appearance and insatiable hunger led Minos to imprison it in the labyrinth, an intricate maze constructed by the master craftsman Daedalus. This maze was so complex that escape was deemed impossible, ensuring the Minotaur's containment. Nemean lion. The Nemean lion was a monstrous feline from Greek mythology, known for its impenetrable golden fur and immense strength. It terrorized the region of Nemea until it was defeated by Hercules during his first labor. According to myth, the lion's fur was impervious to all weapons, rendering spears, arrows, and swords useless against it. This invulnerability forced Hercules to rely on sheer physical strength to subdue the beast, showcasing his exceptional might and resilience. Once Hercules managed to strangle the lion, he used its own claws to skin it, as they were the only tools sharp enough to cut through its hide. Nessie. Nessie, or the Loch Ness Monster, is a cryptid said to inhabit Scotland's Loch Ness. Sightings of Nessie describe it as a large, plesiosaur-like creature, often surfacing in folklore and popular culture as a symbol of mystery and wonder. While evidence of Nessie's existence is anecdotal, the legend persists, captivating imaginations worldwide and fueling debates about the unknown depths of our natural world. Ouroboros. The Ouroboros, a serpent or dragon eating its own tail, is a powerful symbol of eternity, cyclicality, and renewal. Originating in ancient Egyptian and Greek iconography, the Ouroboros reflects the interconnectedness of life and death, creation and destruction. Its image has been used in alchemical texts and philosophical works, representing the infinite cycle of existence. Pegasus. Pegasus, the winged horse from Greek mythology, was born from the blood of Medusa when she was slain by Perseus. A symbol of inspiration and freedom, Pegasus was tamed by the hero Bellerophon, who rode the steed to defeat the Chimera. Phoenix. The phoenix is a mythical bird that regenerates by bursting into flames and rising anew from its ashes. In Greek mythology, the phoenix is described as a radiant bird with vibrant plumage, often gold and scarlet, that lived for hundreds or even thousands of years. When its life cycle came to an end, the phoenix would build a nest of aromatic woods and spices, set itself aflame, and be consumed by the fire. From the ashes, a new phoenix would emerge, continuing the cycle of life. Qilin. The Qilin is a Chinese mythical creature resembling a chimera, often depicted with hooves, antlers, and a dragon-like body. It is associated with prosperity, wisdom, and good fortune. The appearance of a Qilin is said to herald the arrival of a wise ruler or a significant event, making it a revered symbol in Chinese culture. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity of Mesoamerican mythology, is associated with creation, wind, and knowledge. Worshipped by the Aztecs and Mayans, Quetzalcoatl played a central role in their cosmology and was often depicted as a benevolent figure. It embodies the unity of earth and sky, blending human ingenuity with divine power. Sphinx. The Sphinx is a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human, known for posing riddles to those who cross its path. In Greek mythology, the Sphinx guarded the city of Thebes, asking travelers its famous riddle: what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening? Those who failed to answer correctly were devoured. The Sphinx's riddle is one of the most enduring elements of its mythology, a test of wit and intelligence that has captivated audiences for centuries. The answer to the riddle, man, highlights the stages of human life: crawling as an infant, walking upright in adulthood, and using a cane in old age. Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is a powerful figure in Native American mythology, associated with thunder, lightning, and rain. Depicted as a massive bird with the ability to control the weather, the Thunderbird is often seen as a protector of humanity, bringing rain to nourish crops and striking down threats with its lightning bolts. Unicorn. The unicorn, a horse-like creature with a single spiral horn on its forehead, symbolizes purity, grace, and magical healing. In medieval European lore, unicorns could only be tamed by virgins and were often seen as divine beings. The unicorn's horn was believed to neutralize poison, further cementing its status as a symbol of purity and protection. Wendigo. The Wendigo, a creature from Algonquian folklore, represents insatiable greed and cannibalistic hunger. Often described as a gaunt skeletal figure with antlers, the Wendigo embodies the dangers of succumbing to base desires. It is said to possess humans who engage in taboo acts, turning them into monstrous beings driven by an endless appetite. The origins of the Wendigo myth are deeply tied to the harsh winters and isolated landscapes of North America, particularly in regions inhabited by the Algonquian-speaking tribes. These long, cold winters often brought food shortages, and the legend of the Wendigo served as both a cautionary tale and a moral lesson. It warned against the consequences of resorting to cannibalism, not only as a physical act, but as a metaphor for greed and selfishness that could destroy the fabric of a community. Werewolf. Werewolves are humans cursed or enchanted to transform into wolves, often under the light of the full moon. Found in myths across Europe and beyond, werewolves symbolize the struggle between humanity and primal instincts. Yeti. The Yeti, or abominable snowman, is a cryptid said to inhabit the Himalayan mountains. Described as a large ape-like creature covered in white or brown fur, the Yeti symbolizes the mystery of uncharted wilderness. The legend of the Yeti has been part of Himalayan folklore for centuries, particularly among the indigenous Sherpa and Tibetan communities. Known locally as Migoi, or Meto Kangmi, the Yeti is often considered a spiritual being rather than a mere cryptid. It is believed to be a protector of the mountains, a guardian of nature, and a reminder of the power and majesty of the untamed wilderness. For the Sherpas, The Yeti is deeply rooted in cultural and religious traditions, sometimes associated with Buddhist beliefs about reincarnation and the sanctity of life. I'll be making more videos like this soon. Subscribe to see them.